Hi, everyone. It's Lynn Cockrum-Murphy. And I said I'd come on at 1. I'm a little bit late. Oh, look, it's 1:11. It's 1:11. Anyway, I thought it was a good day to talk about devastation or gratitude. I was going to talk about gratitude, but I thought, you know, there's a lot of devastation all around us. From, I mentioned the other day that we had a fire in the desert just north of here, and 8 houses burned down. It also was out in a town called Kip Creek, or next to a town called Kip Creek, and a lot of horse properties there. So people were helping to evacuate the horses so that, yeah, so that, anyway, some of the horse, I don't know what you call that kind of a building, but they burned. Where the stables, I guess they're called stables. So they burned, and yet people got the horses out in time. So there's that devastation. There's devastation. Hi, Katie. Devastation. Anytime you turn the TV on, or go through the channels, or check the news, it's it's interesting because so often in this country, when we see devastation, it's other countries or it's weather related. A hurricane, sometimes an earthquake. We're not used to turning on the TV and being inundated. Hi, Sam. Good to see you again. Facing angry, scared people. Some days, seems like just a couple weeks ago, it was food lines that amazed me that many people don't have jobs now and don't have food. So I don't want to be negative because that's not me at all. But this is what I'm noticing. And so devastation, pretty pretty much the wording for it. I had written a poem about devastation the other day. I'll share it in a few days. I don't think it's right here in front of me. And my coach and I were talking about it, and he suggested that I share about devastation. I think that that's how COVID makes people feel. Job loss, watching our savings go dwindle, and then worrying about the people that we love. If they live in Washington, D.C., if they live in Minneapolis, Los Angeles. And then, I have a relative who has severe asthma. It's an adult who has severe asthma. So COVID is really a threat to that person's life. So there's a lot to be devastated about. Now I'm going to talk about gratitude. Because truly, I don't believe in suffering. I think that was one of the things that attracted me. I became a Buddhist when I was 17. Now I'm very eclectic. But at that point, I became a Buddhist for several reasons. One is because they talked about suffering. And I had suffered a lot in the early part of my life and was looking for a way out of um, the state of mind that had brought me to. So I've done a lot to avoid suffering. It's funny because when I was young and not yet a Buddhist and not yet on a spiritual path, I thought the way to avoid makes me laugh. The way to avoid suffering is like drink more, try the next drug, go shopping, have another snack, and none of that works for more than a moment, and then you're left with guilt or regret or whatever. So when I learned about Buddhism, I used their chanting technique for years, for a really long time. And then since then, I found so many other ways, healing work, connecting with my higher power, um, connecting with going into states of higher consciousness and letting the grace that comes with that, my state of my state of consciousness. And the more healing work I did, the more it became easier to stay in those higher states, to access them. So for gratitude, it's interesting because the ideas of attracting what you want has been around for quite a while. Just gathering my thoughts. So, okay, we have law of attraction. We have the ability to manifest. But I mentioned gratitude because one of the states is being able to say thank you for all that I have. Because if you're trying to manifest or attract more and you're saying, I don't have enough, I don't have enough, most of what you manifest is, I don't have enough still. So we practice our gratitude for what we have. And I was thinking about it today because in the preview to this, I'd mentioned things that we have. But you can look at it either way. It can be like I have a job and I have an income and I have food in the cupboards. Or you can look at it like I have love in my life. I am cared for. I have a relationship with something greater than myself that I trust and have faith in. I have family that cares. I have family that I can talk to. So, it can be those tangible outside things, or they can be the less tangible and more internal things. I have intelligence, or I have the ability to communicate, or I have love for everyone. So if we're in gratitude for all that, what do? We attract more of it. If I want to manifest, I'm teaching a theta healing class this weekend. It's an introductory class, the first one that people are required to take. They can move on. I wanted to manifest one more student in that class because the theta healers then, as they're in the class becoming theta healers, they are using the techniques on each other. So each person would identify something that they want to work on, release, or heal, and the other person would help them do that using the theta healing technique. And then I'm there to support and guide and assist in that beginning stage. So if I want to attract another person in that class, I do things like thank God that I have the training for the class, that I have one person already enrolled, that we feel safe enough with the size of the living room that we can have a small class, that I know that we can do this even without masks, but we will probably do it without the hugging and the touching that normally goes on in good classes. And the muscle testing we'll do differently. There are multiple ways to do muscle testing, which is a technique we use in the class. So if I want to manifest more people in the class, I can visualize it as it's already there. They're out there, they're sitting on the couch, sitting in the other chairs, they're laughing and talking. I put out iced tea for them. They're communicating, but keeping them a healthy distance. I can also visualize people calling me and saying, Lynn, are you still offering that class? I can affirm it's already happened. I can affirm, oh, that the payment for that's already in my account. I can affirm by printing out the certificates in advance, well, not the name part, but printing out the certificates and as if they're already here. So, oh, the other thing that I like to do is when I'm falling asleep at night, visualize all the components, right? Kind of daydream it. So we did this and we have this and it went like this. And then they graduated and they called me afterwards and said, this is how they're applying theta healing in their life. And this is how it expanded their healing business. A lot of people that come to me are um, nurses or massage therapists. They're already in the medical field, but they want another technique and one that has the reputation that theta healing has. So to manifest is just, it's so easy. A lot of it is like getting out of the way. Tell the universe, you tell creator what you want. You act as if you already have it, and then make sure that you're not doing anything to block it. Because that is the frustrating part is when we block it and we're like, why did that happen? And then you realize later, well, I didn't want to have too much work to do. I didn't want to have this. I didn't want to have people in the house. I didn't want, and it brings all that to consciousness. Anyway, so, it's really a blessing that we've had um, Esther Hicks channeling that information about the law of attraction. Because like everybody knows about it now, right? And it didn't used to be that way. So what else? From devastation to gratitude. I think the other thing, and I've been talking about each time that I talked last week in this, is that in us is a calm, still place that's always there, right? Especially people who are meditators or have a spiritual practice, they know how. We know how to check into that place and remember who we are. When we do that, it makes it so much easier to say, yeah, there's chaos in the world, but it's not in me. I'm aware it's out there and it's okay. I can send light and love and blessing and healing into the world, into the planet, into the people. I'm not disturbed. We can also be aware that feelings will come and go, but they go. We don't stay in it. So there's a lot of grief around lately. Grief for losses, all the losses people are experiencing. There's also anger for people who've been stolen, been looted lately, or people who've lost family members to violence. All we have to do is say, yeah, that exists, it's there, it's not mine. And then remember to tap in to the peace and the calm and stability that is within. And that's why we have spiritual practices so that we have a state of equanimity, that level of peace when we're living life. When you have a cranky boss, when you have a loved one who's ill, when the world is in chaos and setting things on fire, when hurricanes are coming, we can have equanimity. This is one of the many reasons to have a spiritual practice. And yours doesn't have to match mine. Whatever works for you. We're such individuals. And doesn't it evolve over time? And the chanting that I did when I was a Buddhist in my late teens is quite different than the chanting that I do now after having recently visited India for 3 weeks. So, whenever the devastation comes near, try gratitude. Thank you, God, for the contrast. It's showing me how much I can appreciate the goodness in my life. My kitty just entered the room. She's talking to me. So, gratitude for the peace in my life. Gratitude that I know for that safe place to go within. Gratitude for the peace in my home. Gratitude that you people are here listening today. Gratitude for the number of people who listened to yesterday's. It was a large number. So I will be here tomorrow, Wednesday, 1 o'clock. Once again, I don't know my topic yet, but I have a list. And then I'll just let myself be guided. That's the way to live. So I love you. And I thank you for being here with me. And I wish you peace and ease. See you tomorrow.